Hello, hello. I am so excited. It's Christmas time. I've been playing, everybody who know me know I love that Luther Christmas. I've been playing that Luther Christmas. I just need my little nephew, Matthew. He's 7. Thank you, Nola, for saying goodnight to all of us. He sings Luther Christmas with me every year. But tonight, I want us to remember little girls were made with sugar and spice and everything nice. We want to return Lady back to our society. Good night, Sigrid. How are you? I'm glad you both are here tonight. Good night, Kanisha. How are you? We have some ladies, y'all, from Gen X to what they call us? They call us the era with all the children. We the ones who made the money. But anyway, see y'all in just a minute. Call a friend. This is an important night. I hope we have some daddies and some men on. See you in just a moment. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hey everyone. Tonight for me, and I think for our society where it is tonight, our conversation is a big deal. I can remember when it was my 16th birthday, my daddy took me out to dinner, and he did for my sisters also. And we got a piece of jewelry, and we had flowers, and we went out to dinner, and Nola and Sigi is speaking to each other. We went out to dinner, and we had a great, great time. And Daddy knew that I love to dance. I love to dance. And my daddy, he was quite a socialite. So, of course, we learned how to waltz at home. We learned how to dance at home. And I remember for many years when I was younger, we danced every Sunday. I got to dance with my daddy every Sunday. And we learned how to waltz. And we did things like made our debut, and we couldn't wear heels it was a certain, we were a certain age, and we couldn't wear stockings until we were a certain age. Little girls had stages of growth. That was so exciting to me. And when I skip all the way from when we couldn't wear our hair hanging down, Shirley Temples were good, for holidays, not every day, but we couldn't wear our hair hanging down until we were well into high school. I don't remember the age, but we were well into high school. We were taught lady in stages, and I remember once I dropped something on the floor, and I went to pick it up, and my pastor was there. He said, "Don't ever bend down and pick up something when there's a man around." And I just look around right now, and I see things happening so differently. And I know everybody lived their own life, young people. I told my sister I want her to come and talk about motherhood one evening. She said, "We can't do that because the way they mother today." I said, "But they need to hear it. They need to hear it." I want to know, when did being a lady, go out of style? How that happened? How did that happen? How did we come to the spot, to the place? I was telling you, let me go back, sorry. The one thing I despise is when they put the little baby girls, and boys too, we're talking about girls tonight, the little baby girls on a Facebook or the internet, and they gyrating their body, shaking all over. I don't know why all the majorettes from grammar school to high school have to stand with their legs open, gyrating down to the ground. That just wasn't the majorette step when I was a majorette. How do we combine who we were, those baby boomers? Y'all thought I forgot, I know. How do we combine way back with the baby boomers? But we knew our value. We knew our value as women. It is a man's nature to take care of his wife and his family, his woman. I remember, plain as I can see y'all now. That's funny. But I remember when my daddy told me, if a man is not taking care of you and bringing it to you, bringing his money to you, he's bringing it to somebody else. If a man is not taking care of you, he's taking care of somebody else. My daddy I learned a lot from him. Of course, he raised me, y'all knew that already. But I can tell when he was disappointed in any of our relationships. He didn't say much because he said he didn't want to interfere in our lives. I wish he had interfered some. But, well, daddies, to meet these boyfriends, well, mamas, to meet these girlfriends, these people our children hook up with. Are we allowing them to make two big decisions at young ages? Kanisha said, I learned a lot from my dad as well. He has missed so much. We need dads in here teaching girls how to be girls. I don't know if it's the internet, and I know I'm going round and round and round. I'm looking for. I think this conversation has to come from our heart, so I'm looking for comments. So thank you, Kanisha. How have our society become so sexualized that 12 and 14-year-olds are out having sex? I didn't truly understand what sex really was till I was 16, 17 years old. Nevertheless, being interested in it at that time. But now we have young girls. And the toll it's taking on their mentality, boys too. The toll that being oversexed, I call it, is taking on their mentalities, their self-esteem. They end up young, and not everybody, because I'm also thinking, let me say this. My niece has two boys, and she raised them, and I'm saying she because she's the mother. Their dad is very, very, very present in their life. I just love how their lives spell family. And they teach them in a responsibility, Jay went off to college. They taught him the responsibility when he did get a girlfriend, when he did go off to college. Not only his responsibility to keep that his life, but his responsibility towards a girl as your girlfriend. I had a patient. She was 16 years old. The little girl, I met them. I knew some of their family, but she was saying how smart she was. Her mom agreed that the little girl was very intelligent, made excellent grades in school, was in honors classes, blah, blah, everything you could think of. She had this boyfriend. And she snuck the boy in her mom's house. And her mom was telling her in front of me how she was going to be no good like her dad. She was just going to be the W word that people say start with H, but it's really a W. And, all of these negative things. I said, wait, Mom, wait. Can we just talk about why we're admitting her? Well, Mom wanted to go because she was so totally frustrated, but she had to bring something back tomorrow, and I was working tomorrow. So I told her, well, come back at a certain time when I made room for her. And I talked to the little girl. I said, so you have a boyfriend and you're sexually active with the boyfriend? Well, he gives me everything I want. I said, he gives you everything you want? Yeah. Are you sure about that? Yeah. Suppose your mama decides today you're 16. She don't want to put up with that anymore. And she emancipates you. Here in Georgia, you can emancipate someone at 16. Can he afford to take care of you? This is how distorted the reality is. Oh no, he can't do that. We're just 16. He's my age. He can't do that. I said, did you hear what you just told me? But you bringing someone in your mom's home, destroying your place to live, destroying your relationship with your mom, to a boy who's only a child. But you misunderstood for his man. And we had a long talk. This is not your concern right now. You can be up or bound. The colleges that have courses for young people that have scholastics like you have, the grades that you have. You should be preparing for your life. And, of course, she was admitted, so we got her some Spelman stuff. I always give the young girls Spelman stuff when they come because I want them to think big. I want them to think high. And the next day that mom called. And I said, Mom, do you not know everything that come out of your mouth is going to make your child who she is? Do you understand how you're tearing her down with this negative stuff? Come in. Because she was just coming to drop something off. And I said, she's going to be every single thing that you speak into her life. Your words are creating her life. Your words are creating her future. We have to undo this. She's not going to get another mom. And you're not going to get another chance at being a mom. So we had this long talk. I said, I've spoken to her about college, and this is where you're going to go. This is what you're going to do. And I always say, watch, you need to tune into Vivacious Speaks. This is what you need to do. This is where we're going. You have to start searching scholarships for her. Give her a future to look for, and not that she have a job, she have to pay bills. There's nothing wrong with her helping you pay bills. But when she's put in a grown-up spot like that, and you hand her bills, she's gonna feel like she's grown and she's taking care of herself. But you see, we have to begin to understand again that we have to step by step grow up our children. We have to step by step recreate the stages of growing little girls. Someone came to me today and she has young girls. She said, my girls are this age, but I want them to be debutantes. Can you introduce them? Can you help me? Yeah, we could do that. We could go home because she was from New Orleans. Our girls still come out. So, they can go out there or we can do it here. We can start an organization where girls learn to have teas, where they learn to dress up. My assistant that's working tonight, I love that girl so much, but the truth is she hates dressing up. And when I come, she'll tell my grandson, don't put on a suit. Because if she see you in that suit, she gonna want me to dress up too. Let's dress our children up again. We miss that because we don't go to church anymore. I remember having church clothes. So, with all of this being said, can I get a voice from the audience? How do we bring back the feminine side? Is it extinct because now we're competing with men? We don't need you. We don't need that. I don't need that. We're gonna shack up and you're gonna pay half the rent. I'm not falling for that one. I'm gonna shack up with you. You want me to play wifey? I know I'm going from little girl to big girl, so we're gonna go back to little girl. And I'm gonna pay half the rent. I'm gonna pay you to act like I'm your wife. Do wives mean the same thing? What does that mean to us first? I was talking to a young lady and she was like, I'm gonna wait till I find. I said, don't just wait. You have to be the wife for him to find you. You don't become the wife after you get the man. You become the wife that you're gonna be the wife that you're gonna be what he's looking for. So when I talk to people about young women, about little girls, I know I get all the time, oh, people don't do that no more. That's so old time. This is what Kanisha have to say. The way families operate have changed tremendously over the years. Absolutely. And since she said that, I'm gonna stay on this. I'm gonna stay on that street. It amazes me how we let these children with no wisdom make all of these decisions. Even in the way they dress. I'm gonna stay old for just a minute. Why we have these babies with this? Uh, like I tell my daughter, I wish he would tell you something about being out there. But she's not as bad as she used to be. Praise God. Not as bad as she was. With your body all exposed. Why are little babies like that, y'all? Can we bring, is it necessary? And I'm asking a question if anybody can answer. Is it necessary to bring structure back to family again? How do we bring consequences back into the home again? You wouldn't believe how many times a week I got into a fight with my mom. Cause my daddy slapped me for, this was a little girl just the other day. My daddy slapped me because he told me to stop something and I continued to do it anyway. And so he slapped me. So she called the police. And now defects in their house. I said, if I was your daddy, defects would be keeping you. And one thing I believe, and I believe that the government got to step back because defects going to have so many of these kids. We're going to be holding them long and long and longer for them to find a house for them to go to because there's so many of them. Because parents not going to take having somebody in their house that could punch them in the, I punched my mama in my face, 14 years old, because mama wouldn't get up to bring her to her boyfriend's house. Mom said, I have been drinking. I cannot drive. So you punch your mama in the face. Do I have any opinion or any suggestions? Or am I just way off? But I would suggest, since I don't hear any voices out there, I would suggest that we have generational get-togethers. What I mean by that, I mean like grandmas, moms, aunts, great aunts, and we make us a tea. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to get to New Orleans, and we're gonna have all of our girls. What do y'all think? Y'all think this will work? And we talk about, oh, and I was, how old were we when we got to wear high heels and stockings? How old were you when you had got to have a boyfriend? And that boyfriend came to your house and sat on your sofa and had to meet all of your family and had to answer your daddy question. And I think that it's going to be very important, even in the atmosphere of where our country is going. It's going to be very, very important to bring back the unity to family. Siblings should know one another. If I say something to one of my siblings, they can about tell you if it's real or not. If somebody says something to them about me, even my siblings, they can say if it's real. Oh no, that's not my little sister. Oh yeah, that sounds like her. Where y'all was when that happened? So together it's gonna be very important to build a strong future, that we place some of these values in our families. That we all get together and prepare the meal and make the tea and learn one another. I don't have many ideas of I don't know how we became so sexual. I can only think of the internet. But I don't know how that happened. I would need younger people to maybe give an opinion on what do we do about that. Kanisha says generational trauma and unnecessary drama is the root of a lot of dismay the children are experiencing now. Can you give me a little example of that, Kanisha? Or anybody? Um, I can think of some things. Let me think. Sometimes in families, especially in churches, when men or deacons or just men in the church, I remember this girl I worked with. It was still very upsetting with her. She was in her 20s, but it was very upsetting to her because they went to church. And when she said when you had to go from one out of this building into a hallway to a school building, Kanisha said that's heavy. To a school building, to use the bathroom, but it was like all church property. And the deacon touched her inappropriately. And she ran and told her mom. And her mom said, oh, don't say nothing about it. Don't say nothing about it. They covered it. I don't think she was able to go to the restroom by herself anymore. But they covered what the man did. She was this age, in her 20s. And it was still very, very difficult for her to talk about that. And I believe it was because her mom didn't respond the way she thought her mom should respond. And I promise you, her mom didn't respond the way I think a mom should have responded. I don't think they should have ever gone back to that church again. Sometimes we could think about things and we wish we had handled it differently. But one thing that just crossed my mind, I have been thinking about it. I've been thinking about this tonight for a long time. One thing that we need to really, really, really step up on, because the world is the way it is to talk to our children about sexuality. Kanisha said, that sounds nice, Val. I would love to participate in that. Well, you'll have to participate in it. We're going to have to begin to discuss sexuality, have those conversations so that they could even, not that they could understand some of it, I don't know, but we're going to have to begin to have those conversations. I'm gonna say something that nobody knows happened to me, because sometimes we don't understand. We don't understand the boyfriend girlfriend. Yes, I can. I can see. That sounds nice, Val. I would love to participate in that. Was your last message? Did you say something else? If you did, you can text me and I'll read it. If it didn't come up. I'm sorry. But when we don't teach our children, look, my dad was the man who always told sex jokes. It was like no limits in my life, you know. Now he taught us that, you know, a girl can run fast with her dress up, then a boy can with his pants down and all of that stuff. But it was, you know, to really talk about, we heard nasty jokes. We knew he had a lot of women. We knew some stuff that I'm just not gonna go on and saying. We knew a lot of stuff, and it wasn't many boundaries set. So to understand relationship and to understand sex in the place of relationship, even sex in the place of life. Right now, it's just like if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, you're supposed to have sex. I'm talking about little children who can't do anything with it. But we're not talking about it with them. I didn't forget. So, what I'm saying. But, so, it was one time I was supposed to be going to my dad's house when I got off from work. And a person came and they said, let me give you a ride home. I said, oh no, I'm not going home. Well, anyway, I ended up riding with the person. The person didn't bring me home. But where the person brought me that night, after he brought me where he brought me, I was able to get away. I was screaming to my friends, please help me. Because I didn't want to go back with him. Please help me, please help me, please help me. And nobody would help me. But I fought and got away from him, but she let me get in her car. And that's how I got away. But I didn't even understand that man had raped me. And it wasn't until recently when something came up and I was talking to someone I'm very close with, And I won't call her name. She might be on here. And I said, I never talked about that before. I never talked about that before. So our children could be out here, but because sex is so free and unleashed, they could be going through that. They could be getting raped and don't even understand that it's rape. But we are so disconnected that we don't we're not preparing our daughters for this wild, wild world that they've become a part of. One example is living in chaos. One of the biggest chaotic things to me also, we have to train our daughters. I know for some of y'all, this is just a word. But when you start calling each other and yourself that B word, it lowers your own self-respect. That was the lowest word in the American language. But now it's as common. I'm feeling silence. Anybody have anything to say? Am I talking about anything? Am I putting anything on our minds? Are we thinking about a young lady that we have to, that we not have to, because that's not what I mean, but that we would like to build a relationship that we can bring her back to ladyhood? A niece, a daughter, a granddaughter, a child next door. Are we, let me just say, I was about to say, are we teaching our, our girls how to have relationships? But do we understand relationship? Do we understand, because we've gotten so far from male, female. But, I don't understand all of that either, feminism and that fight. If anybody want to say something about it, open floor, open floor. So we could go back to Kanisha's last point, living in chaos. I can't believe nobody have nothing to say. But I'm thinking of a mom with kids working. Now, if you're not living in the car in a hotel, you might have 2 jobs. We used to be middle class is 25% class. We used to have lower class, middle class, upper class. But now we have 0 class, 1/4 class, 50, 75, 100. I had a lady tell me once that her child was in the gang for years, and she didn't know. And I'm thinking, girl, where were you? But sometimes we're so caught up. So many moms are broken without anybody to be made whole. How many of us just wanted to cry? Just wanted to lay down and cry, but didn't have a friend to cry to or to cry with you. And God forbid, don't go to the church. Sigrid says there's a lot of mothers out there that feel like they are in competition with their daughters and vice versa for a man. Oh my God. I wish that wasn't the truth. I really wish that wasn't the truth. But two people came to mind. Two nurse friends came to mind with that statement. Maybe we could get a club and talk about, Kanisha said, I agree, Sigrid. Club and talk about what is a man, woman. We need some men too. You know, I know everybody I see that's saying something is moms, but we need some men in this conversation. What is a good or a strong male-female relationship? And we could talk about brothers and dads and men in our life. Males that's just platonic, they're just friends. I have more male friends that's real friends than girls. What is a real relationship like? What does that consist of? What do you look for? What are you looking for? What are you after? And again, I'm going back to my niece and the way they're raising their boys. They're raising them to be strong, to understand family, I'm so proud of them. You know, it's important to be educated. You are who you are all alone by yourself. And if you get somebody in your life, you have somebody in your life, that's to add to who you are. You're you, they're them, and together we are joining these two lives. But you have to be a strong person. And I have to continue to grow. And it's just fabulous. And they're not the only people, but you know, other young people in our family, I'm just picking them because they're growing. I'm trying to make a picture. So if I go around and put other people in, you might not see that picture. Because the bottom line is we have to create family again. When I went home, I took a friend of mine, a girlfriend, and I am quite the personality, okay? So when I get home, you know, I have my big sister there. My two sisters, they take care of me. I'm the baby. And as a matter of fact, I fell out with somebody for a lifetime because they thought they could come in and be the baby sister. I'm your baby sister, okay, you out. But anyway, she said, what is this? Because I totally become the little sister and my big sister's presence. Because we were raised with the role, you know. When mom died, my sister had to take care of me. You know, at first she was like, I'm a child too. I'm a child too. But I had no clue. I had no clue because I was her baby, you know, me and my little brother. And I had no idea what to do, how to take care of myself. So she submitted herself to be my big sister. And still today she said, you know, you was really my first child. But that comes with loving yourself. That strong foundation we had, even though we were like 6 and 8, the younger ones, and you know, mom gave us a sense of love for yourself. We were taught from, I guess, in our arms, because I never remember not having the confidence in who I am. So please, if you have kids and you have grandkids, give them confidence in who they are. Give them that confidence. If you don't know, if we don't know as grown-ups and understand relationship, we want a relationship with the opposite sex. We want a relationship with a man. What does that consist of? Go find out first before you get a man. And before our girls start having boyfriends, teach them who they are. They haven't spent any time with them, but they're 12 and 14, they're going to have a boyfriend. Who is that person that you can depend on and listen to? My boyfriend? Oh, I'll go sleep at my boyfriend 14. Because my mama, she was going to talk about this all night long. This very day, 15-year-old want to commit suicide because his girlfriend broke up with him. Y'all, this is real. And we fall apart. We have a relationship. Stuff happens. We fall apart. We don't make it through that one. Then we got another relationship. And now it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Your healing is at the bottom of all of that stuff. But you're raising children. And then you're angry with men from your relationship. So you're passing that on to your daughter. You're mad with the daddy, so you tell a daughter her daddy is no good, or he's nothing, he's this, you don't need no man, you don't. What is the purpose of a man in your life? A daddy and your man is not the same. So they shouldn't be talked about together like it's the same thing. And getting back to what Sigrid said, why, if you feels like you're competing with your daughter, why would you bring that man home to where your daughter lives? If you know you like young men, I have something in mind here, and you bring this man home, and your daughter have the opportunity to sleep with him in your house. Neither one of y'all know him. So we're gonna begin to have relationships where we talk about it all. We're gonna have big girl relationships and big people relationships where men and women can come together and talk about it. Talk about what is it like to be a friend. You know, here in Georgia, it's hard if a guy is your friend. Everybody think you like him. No, I'm just saying hey. I'm just saying hi. I'm a big flirt. You know, my dad, I like to flirt. It's just fun. So when we begin to have those conversations, we can pass it down to our children. We can start making different rules in our home. Thursday nights, everybody put up their electronics. This is family night. We're going to talk to each other. We need to know each other's favorite color. We need to know who the friends are. So on a good Saturday evening, if you have 3 kids, we can invite everybody, friends and parents over. If the friends and parents don't come, then it's off the list of friends. My same niece I was telling you about, they're friends with all of their children's, with all of their friends' parents. Let us begin to discover ourselves. Find someone that you can share your hurt with. And y'all can together get healing. Talk about the things that hurt your child without judging her. Help your children to understand after you've gotten it together and you've set some boundaries. Okay? Look, y'all, it's going to take some growing, but we're going to set these boundaries. Begin to set boundaries. Let's make age a factor again. I haven't raised kids in a little while. So if anybody have any ideas of how we can, you know, raise our children in stages again. At this stage, at this stage, at this stage. Because if they have gowns with long trails and tiaras bigger than their heads when they're 5 and they're getting in the limo or the rolls, what you gonna do when they graduate from high school? If they have $300 tennis shoes at 7, they'll cost $700 by the time he's 15. How is he gonna pay for that? Oh, we setting our children up. Come on. We can together build community. We can together, because we in this together, say, okay, how important is it that our children get dressed up, that our boys wear a suit, that our girls, we don't even wear stockings anymore. Well, get dressed up, look nice, and go someplace special. Should our girls know, what a T is, what a debutante is. And all of it may not, you may not use all of it. You may get dressed up and go to church or go to a family meeting where families are meeting, and grow family and grow community and sit and have dinner at the table once or twice a week. We can begin to grow. Somebody told me today, no, that can't ever happen. It would be very disappointing to even try to think that it could never happen. But we can make it happen. Teach our children about what it is to be a friend. What do you expect from a friend? How do you choose your friends? Because equally yoked goes a long way. So you have to have friends that have something in common with you. Where are you growing together as people? How are you growing together as people? That's how you learn to make a friend. What are you going to have? I was having this discussion with a young mom. She's young to me. And we were discussing a friend. She came and she told me some things that a friend did. I said, a friend would never do that. Tell me, you're calling her best friend. What is something that she gave you? And I don't mean money. That will last you forever. That will last you a lifetime. She couldn't say anything. Then she said she's always so negative. She just judged me and can't see anything good. I said, then why are you spending your time with her? And why are you calling her best? But tell me about you and so. And when I say that name, her eyes just buck. I said, tell me something that she gave you that will take you for a lifetime. I said, but let me tell you, she did say a few things. Then I said, let me tell you what I see that she gave you. She has increased your self-esteem more than I've ever seen you, ever since you've been her friend. You think more of yourself, the way you handle yourself, the way you look at yourself, the way you fix yourself. I see you growing as a woman. Yeah. And then she started saying other things. I said, that's what you need. That's what you need. So we as older women can have meetings with younger women and discuss those things. What is it like being a friend? What is it like being a mother? If the Bible says those that God love, he chastises, we as parents should love our children to chastise them. And the way that today is, we could discuss with our with one another. How do you chastise your child? Discuss with the child. This is gonna begin to happen. This is how we're gonna run our home. Um, there will be boundaries if you cross those boundaries. When I say no, not in the heat of anger, but in respectful conversation, you may ask why. But not until I think you're ready for that conversation. And I see we've met an hour. I really believe I was going to have good conversation tonight. Everybody was going to be participating, and we couldn't finish this conversation. But I would love to know what you guys are thinking. And we're going to get that debutante. I'm thinking maybe we'll make a branch from someone else at home. Just make another branch, or we'll talk about it. That we could bring our girls up to be proud to be ladies again. I thank you guys for being with us. If y'all think of something you want to say, text me, call me, email me, hit me up on Facebook. But I've talked to y'all for an hour. Thank you, Kanisha. Thank you for Sigrid. Thank you, Sigrid, for participating. And we'll see y'all next week. Don't forget to subscribe. And hey, like. I can see how many people watching it, but y'all not liking it. So hit the like button, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for being here. And